The small artist experience. It sucks. Now yes, before you come at my throat, that was a very broad generalization to gain clicks and attention. However, that claim, albeit intense, holds some truth. If you don't know, hi, I'm TBABY, I'm a dude, and I consider myself a small artist. But TBABY, you have a whole 3,000 subscribers! How can you be a small artist? I'm aware of this, and my perspective on this particular topic will differ from most people, because not only am I an artist, I'm also a content creator, and that affects everything I do. The way I interact, how I go about social media, there are quite a few nuances to it. Despite that, I do consider myself a small artist at the end of the day. There are probably only around 20 people who actually follow my stuff closely. And every other art-related account I have is under 100 followers, with my TikTok as an exception. The only reason I have this many subscribers in the first place is because a video series I didn't really care about blew up, and I don't plan on making content like that anymore. So naturally, this video was originally about my frustration of being in that situation, building a following really fast, seemingly over a couple of weeks, only to be tied to this particular series. But after I'd written my script, which consisted of heated ramblings at the moment, I stopped to think, how many others are there like me? Who else is in a similar situation? Now, without a doubt, I know there are tons of small artists out there, but are we all feeling the same way at the same time? That's where this video actually starts. I decided that I wanted to ask people personally about their experience as a small artist, and the best way to do this was to create a survey that people could fill out. First, I had to define what a small artist is, so I decided in this research, a small artist would be someone with under 3,000 followers on a particular account. Meaning you can have two accounts both with 3,000 followers and still be considered a small artist. The points don't get tallied together. Next, I quite literally did my best to push the survey around through word of mouth. I started in my Discord, advertised in other Discord servers, along with making a post on Tumblr. I also made a TikTok and YouTube short to potentially get it even further. I didn't use Instagram or Twitter because I don't have accounts on either platforms anymore, same with Reddit. And I let the survey circulate for about 3 days. At the time of writing the script, I have 60 entries, which in my opinion is a pretty damn good sample size. The main goal of this survey was to get first-hand accounts of being a small artist on the internet. The secondary goal was to gather statistics to potentially understand what influences these experiences. So let's take a look at what we got and focus on first-hand accounts. Response 4. Being a small artist in modern day can be extremely stressful and demotivating if you'd like to pursue art as a career. Major efforts to publish art you've made doesn't receive benefits regardless of skill because of current algorithms. With Instagram and many other platforms, the algorithm works against you as a smaller artist, giving larger artists the push. In Discord, if you try to post your artwork before or after a more popular artist, you are guaranteed to receive less or no attention, regardless if you show more skill than the popular artist, because people will always be drawn towards others who have succeeded. This creates a vicious cycle of not improving. Response 54. At some point, I developed a toxic relationship with it. It felt like I stopped drawing for myself and started feeling anxious about how the internet would react to my art. I felt like I stopped being a person and started to become this metaphorical mask, desperate to find a face that could be loved and recognized. It caused me to put myself in a box and really stifled my creativity. I also kind of got obsessed with like count on my art and started viewing it like it determined my value. And it was kind of upsetting when my fan art was more liked than my original art. But that last part is understandable though. Response 40. It's harder to get people to care about personal things, like OCs, because people don't know you well. If you resort to posting something more popular, i.e. fan art, to gain more of an audience, most of your following won't care for it, and it will flop. Also, unless you get interactions from your friends, it's basically like interacting with a void. You post, You get likes, 1 or 2 comments if you're lucky, and that's it. It's rare that you have people giving in-depth replies about anything beyond your art looking good or a short hate comment. Response 28. Social media has pushed an idea on everyone that the price of your worth is equal to the amount of likes you get, and it applies so much to being a small artist. Often because you don't get that large amount of likes you see other people get, you think your art's worse. And in turn, having a smaller audience will often mean less interactions, especially when you want people to interact and comment on your art. And if one post goes viral, it's jarring going back to low interactions.
The reach is horrific for small artists and
it's harder to get reach,
definitely.
There are
so
so many
things, both social and literal.
First thing that comes to mind is has to be the lack of
their algorithm. The reach is horrific for people that are very
I feel like I'm doing something wrong. Okay. Let's take a break from reading and unpack some of this, because that was a lot to take in. There was an overwhelming amount of artists who felt as if their worth was tied to the numbers they received on their post. Out of 60 participants, 59% felt as if their art was below average or simply not good enough. That is more than half of the participants. And you know what? I fall in this category sometimes. Participant 12 puts it in words for me. Sometimes it makes me think that I need to work really hard on my art, and it burns me out. I know not to get hung up on it, but it does seep through sometimes. I started YouTube seriously around 6 months ago, and one of my videos took off. I got a lot of criticism about my art, which was expected. However, it happened so fast and so much that I flat out thought my art was lacking and that I needed to improve. And so what that did, it just put me in a cycle, and I exclusively did art studies for a few weeks, and I completely burned myself out. I just couldn't do it anymore, so I walked away from everything. And then after a while, I decided to come back. Feeling better than ever, I upload a video and it doesn't reach my expectations. The algorithm failed me. And there's lots of mentions of the algorithm in this survey. That's probably one of the biggest things talked about. 30 different posts mention the algorithm specifically, which is half the survey, mind you. Many expressing their frustrations at the algorithm for not recommending their artwork, relying on friends or family's minimum interactions, just simply waving their art at the void. And at the end of the day, almost every reaction is the same. It's down to a formula. The algorithm doesn't push up the art receives minimal interaction, the artist feels that describes the worth of their art, the artist feels defeated. So many platforms artists post on, like Instagram or TikTok, punish users for not constantly pushing content out. Social media is switching to a fast-paced, in-your-face, constant stream of content. What is content? Well, obviously it's something that people consume, something they enjoy, and something that has been produced to come out quickly and be forgotten fast. But we're talking about the experience of a small artist. So why does this matter? Well, I'm assuming if you're watching this, you're a small artist. So I'm gonna ask you, the viewer, a question. Are you making art or are you making content? Art is an extension of yourself. It's a way to express your creativity. It shows you're a human being. Content is a thing you produce to gain views, to get recognition, to please the algorithm. Art takes time and effort. You are not a machine built to please other machines. And I see people basing their art and their likes, their view count, on the same standard as content, but you're not making content. You're making art. So at the end of the day, you literally have to ask, are you going to make art for yourself or create content to get validation from other people? Good job, TBABY. I guess being a small artist sucks, and instead of some shitty t-shirt, all I get are questions that make me reevaluate my approach and perception of art. Sorry about that. And yes, I know this video seems like being a small artist is pointless and awful, but I promise there is good that comes out of it. Just take the survey, for example. There's a whole community of like-minded people who are driven by their creativity and not their feeds. You guys proved to me that this is true through your responses, your interactions, your support. Nobody was obligated to say anything in this section, yet so many of you flooded it with kind comments specifically to me, to other people. You didn't even know if I was going to show this in the video, yet you still put in that effort to make someone else's day better. Every single response I got, and I literally checked over and over, maybe I'm wrong, I don't think so, stated that the community was one of the best things about being a small artist. How connections are so much more genuine, and it's so much easier to find people who are on the same skill level and have the same ideas and goals as you. Like, there are discords, hashtags, trends, threads, all dedicated to lifting each other up and making friends in the art community. Being an artist isn't supposed to revolve around numbers or feeds. It's about connecting and expressing yourself. I love everything that a small artist stands for. You are amazing, and that's what makes this community amazing. And I hope we can keep sharing our experiences together.